planet is being destroyed. Your extinction is imminent. You have to stick together to stop them. You have to change, or you're going to become one of them. Welcome back, everybody. Tonight's kind of exciting. This is going to be the first full-length video. Big subject tonight. It's going to be about morality. Now, it's real easy to think that morality is something that's subjective, but we're going to talk all through that tonight. I'd like to thank everybody that has subscribed. Hopefully those first-time watchers right now will subscribe also, because we have a lot more to cover. And thank you for sharing this with me. Let's get into it. Hopefully you all enjoyed that nice dramatic intro. I found it amusing, but let's think about it. It's not wrong. Some of us see what's going on in the world right now, and we know there's some serious problems that need to be fixed, and that's why us that are searching for answers, we need to come together and look to each other to build a community and change and get better. So that's what we're going to talk about. How do we agree on what is moral? We can argue about philosophies and morality and whether it's based in religion or not, but to be honest, I think we all really know what's right and wrong. At least I would argue that most of us do. Now you have to put aside the psychos and things like that yes, there may be a mental issue that prevents you from knowing right from wrong, but every day we see a lot of bad things happen. And for some of us that are empathic, like myself, it hurts seeing it. So let's just kind of think for a minute. What do you think is right and wrong? What are the things that you think that people do that is wrong? And we'll take them one by one and kind of analyze them and see if we agree that these certain things shouldn't be done, not only as us doing them, but definitely done to us. So that's where we're going to start tonight. So right and wrong, that is really the question. What is right and wrong? Now, there was a time that I was a proclaimed atheist. And I would have made the argument that you didn't need religion to tell you what right and wrong was. Now, after many years, I changed and I was no longer an atheist. Science, actually, is what changed me from an atheist. Seeing all of the wonders of biology and chemistry and earth sciences and planetary sciences, it really made me realize that there's way too much going on to not believe in some sort of higher power. Now, even then, that doesn't just be believing in a higher power doesn't somehow give you this moral compass and moral wisdom to all of a sudden know what is right and wrong. And you have to really kind of to look around and see what's going on in the world. And that's how we all have to approach this. What is wrong to do to somebody? Now, the majority would argue that things like murder is wrong. But then you would have people that would argue that there's murder in nature all the time, so how could that be against natural laws? Well, that's the first question we're going to start with. Let's talk biology. Now, in biology, they teach you that humans are animals, which, according to classification and scientific observance, would be correct. But are we different than animals? That is the biggest question. Why and how we would be different in a different classification as animals would be what would set us apart, having a different expectations of things like morality and consciousness, to make choices that even if we have instincts, do we have to act on those instincts? This is how we start becoming more than animals, controlling our instincts. We have consciousness, so we get to make choice. That therefore makes us on a higher level than a natural wild beast. We have the power of intelligent thought, so we should use it, right? So just take a moment and think through that. You have the power to control instincts. Does that mean we have a duty to do so? And if we don't, doesn't that make us animals to where we can't control acting on our instincts? Let's get further into this. I know. Seems so simple, right? Murder is wrong. To kill somebody with no reasoning, even if you had a reason, it's wrong. But are we only talking about people? Is it wrong to kill animals? What about plants? They're alive biologically. They're not maybe animals that seem to have consciousness, but aren't they still alive? Now you start seeing where the line starts to blur. This is exactly why we have to figure this out as human beings. What makes killing and murder wrong? We all have energy in us. Plants, animals, humans. And to take that energy away, that would be killing. Now we do it with food. A big juicy steak was once a live beast. And it's no more because it was slaughtered so we could have that big juicy steak. But also, that great lettuce in that salad was once alive too, before it was plucked from the ground. So maybe it's just if you kill a human being, maybe that's murder. The rest is just doing it for food, right? What about this one that you didn't think about? That fly that has been bothering you all day. Buzzing in your ear, in your nose, your eyes. If you just catch him, oh buddy, are you gonna kill that fly? But wait, it's alive. That's murder, right? You're not gonna eat it, right? So it can't be justified for food. Is it attacking you or just bothering you? Think about that for a second. Now that we took a second to kind of think about what's already been discussed, I know it seems like a pretty simple subject, but for some reason we have all of these problems in the world, so it must not be simple at all. The truth in all of this is that humans hardly think about it at all, even more so in our modern society. We're more focused on just making it through our day. The problem we find is, as we're trying to go through our day, and many of us are trying to go through our day, sometimes bad things happen to people just trying to live their lives. This is the first and biggest problem we have to learn to fix as human beings. This is a very serious subject because right now we have wars going on, we have crime. All of this affects us even though it's not daily, but we can feel it. It's that time when you're trying to walk down the street in the middle of the night and you feel that fear that something could happen. And it does happen. Not necessarily to you, but others. Murder is definitely by far the worst problem of human existence. Some try to justify it through wars, religion, but it's not okay. You can easily live your life letting others believe and live their life according to how they see fit. You are not entitled to force your views or your will onto others. We have to change this. Let's start and be honest with ourselves. I have to assume, keyword assume, that those watching right now have never murdered anybody. Statistically, it's a pretty safe bet. But I'm not naive enough, and we shouldn't be naive enough to believe that we can all of a sudden just change the world tomorrow and make everything better. Because it's not necessarily you and I, the ones doing the bad things. How do you make others change? How do you stop them from doing the things? If we don't have a solution for the problem, then what we're doing means nothing. So we have to figure out a solution. And that's what I hope to do. I feel community is the best support. If we build a community where people can come and feel welcome and loved and cared about and safe, then it can spread into a bigger community. That's what we're doing here. So what's the solution? How do we get to a solution? First, we need to make a plan. We've already recognized the problem. And just remember, we've only started with one particular subject so far. And that's murder, killing. We have a lot more that we need to discuss because that's not the only bad thing that happens in the world. But we still need a plan. Us as a community, as we come together, we have to start changing and encouraging others to change. And we have to start learning how to forget about anger. We have a reaction, And some of us learn it in our environment growing up to jump directly to anger. And one thing they teach you in anger management is when you get angry, a lot of the times it's not because you feel like you were wronged or there's any particular reason. It's because you feel hurt. That is usually. Now, it sounds kind of weird, but the reason you're mad is you feel like somebody did something wrong to you, whether it was they said the wrong thing, they did something that you feel betrayal for. All of these things make a person get angry. A lot of times in relationships, whether it's friends or, domestic, romantic relationships, anger comes out and it's easy because it's a reaction. We need to pause. Now, if you need to separate from the situation to get that moment to calm down, you have to teach yourself that if you just explain and communicate that reason why you became angry, then this is how we start to change. It is true that you can control your anger, your reaction to become angry. The problem is we can't control the actions of others. We can only control our environment, who is around us, who we let in our lives. Sometimes people come into our lives and it takes time to see who they really are. We have to set our standards high enough that we don't accept bad behavior. We don't accept bad people into our lives. This is how we start creating our environment, our community. Surround ourselves with individuals we feel we can trust that aren't going to react in anger and make rash decisions and possibly hurt somebody. Now we're on the path of making a plan and creating a solution. Kind of want to take a different direction when it comes to murder and killing. Let's think metaphysical. So many of us believe that we have souls. Some would even maybe just argue that it's not necessarily a soul, but just the energy of our body. Since there's no way you can use the scientific method and to find what the truth is, we have to agree to disagree if others have different views. They're not wrong. You're not wrong. Acceptance. How many people have been killed because of political views, religious views, beliefs? Acceptance can be a solution for this problem. The reason murder is wrong in the natural order of things, you are stopping the life force of something that is alive. And when we start thinking of things as a life force rather than a steak or a salad, a human, cockroach, be mindful and protect life in every opportunity that you can, then we can start changing our future and make it better. I want to move on to our next subject. This one happens probably the most. That would be theft, stealing, taking somebody's possessions without permission. This is one of those times that people argue about, what about if you're stealing to feed yourself? You're starving. And the only way that you can get that food is to take it. It's somebody else's. But that's the only way. There's solutions to these problems. But we have to agree that taking from another without their knowledge, even if you get caught, no matter the circumstances, is not okay. This is our next step for becoming more than animals. Two animals will fight over a piece of meat. One may have been there first, but it's about survival. We can't operate our lives in survival. We need to thrive and strive to achieve more and prosper, not to gain money, but to have the safety and comfort and happiness in our life. We have to solve all these problems to do that. One way we can start solving the problems of theft is being more generous. Some people will take because they don't want to work. Some people will take to survive. And some people will just take because they want more and they're never satisfied with what they have. And somebody else has something better. In the religions, we're covering commandments right now. You often probably heard, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. Yes, they're translations from different languages long, long ago, but they're just as pertinent today. If we start changing and learning to be more generous, then those that don't have can have more. Welcome others into the community, and if they need help, help them. There's a section in, whether you call it the Torah, the Bible, that discusses when you sow a field and you harvest this field, you leave the edges for the widows, orphans, and the needy. What if we did these things? What if we, those that can, left a little bit and didn't necessarily take all of what we create, but leave some for those that can't? We've seen on social media where somebody has posted a meme asking the question why we don't plant fruit trees in cities where the homeless could easily find food for free. Although I don't like social media as much, or looking at memes, but it brings up a good question. Why not? If we did, would the world we live in, be a little bit better? This is how we start solving this problem, is use the knowledge and education and all of the things that we're able to do to make the place that we live in a little bit better. Our next couple subjects are going to be kind of short. They're not as complicated, but still important. Let's talk about inflicting pain on others. Not to the point of death, but just pain. Pain is wrong to our body. It's why we have the signals neurologically that senses pain. It's telling us that we have to get away. We have to stop it. Something's wrong. And to do that to somebody, to inflict pain, is causing misery, causing something bad in their body that they should get away from. Just think on that for a little bit. Physical pain, emotional pain. If you are causing this in another person, you're doing something wrong. Next thing that we're going to discuss that is morally wrong would be deception. Now we first need to understand what deception is to understand why it's wrong. To deceive somebody, you are operating and giving information that you know to not be correct to someone else, and letting them believe something that is not the truth. That is not to say that it is not okay to conceal things in your life and have privacy. But when you know and intentionally make the conscious choice to tell somebody that is not knowingly in truth, you're deceiving somebody. And deception is going to inflict pain when the truth is discovered. That is why this is wrong. To deceive somebody to gain more, that's the same as theft. As a shop owner, if you intentionally agree with a customer and then actively deceive them to gain more from them, this is wrong. You're stealing. This is one more thing that needs to change in our world. Truth matters. Truth is important, because only on truth can the world really get better. In closing, I'd kind of just like to think for a moment and just, if we can agree that these things that we've discussed so far in morality are the best way to start changing the world that we live in, this can become a foundation to build our community on. Welcome others that you know feel the same way. Lots of us never feel comfortable in churches. And I hope that those of you that feel this way can find a place in our community to understand that we want something better. We need something better. And if we can just agree on the morality foundation of our community, we can have a better life together. Now, there is certain subjects that we can't discuss at length just because of terms and conditions of the video platforms that we use. I invite you all to visit the website, and there will be some videos that are posted there that can discuss subjects that we can't necessarily discuss on these platforms. And hopefully you find some other information there that'll be helpful for you. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate all those that spend the time watching, and I hope to see more. I hope to see this community spread. Thank you so much. And please, subscribe. Have a great life.